I don't know why I do it half the time, but I know why I initially started to do it. But then it kind of branched off into something completely different.
Okay.
Because I didn't even have the microphones going at the start. I was doing it all on the phone.
Okay.
And then, like I said, no one was coming in to talk about art. And then I was getting a bit defeated about the whole, does anyone care about art anymore?
Yeah.
So I said at 20 I'll review it.
Okay.
And I came to 20 because, it's still shit. It's still not happening for me. So I just said I'm going to rebrand and I'll make it more vague.
Okay.
So because I do tend to, like a butterfly, I'll have a new interest.
Okay.
And I don't want to have it pigeonholed into one topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I did this painting, I'll call it the Blackbird.
Okay.
Because the Blackbird is like the conversation, you always hear them cawing.
Mm.
You know what the fuck they're talking about, which is kind of like my podcast some of the time.
Okay.
So I said, that's what I'm going to go with. And I just I never questioned why am I still doing it if I felt it was such a disaster for the art.
Okay.
I just felt, just get into it. I'm not even fully properly set up for it, but it's like I'm not going to learn by thinking about it. I'm only going to learn by doing it. And in turn, when I get really good at it, I can start slowly bringing the art back into it, and then have it all under the Blackbird umbrella.
Okay.
But that's the master plan. Trying to enrich the colourful thing of art.
Yeah.
But it's mostly archery now because I love archery. Got into archery there about 2 years ago now, and it's addictive.
Okay.
Addictive in so many ways. It's open to so many different avenues, like for you personally, how you approach it. If you're just all about targets and the sporty aspect of it, that's great, you'll get a lot out of it. But if you approach it and you're thinking about your breathing, you're thinking about your visualization, your sense of depth of field and all of this, and your accuracy and your composure of self, and then that bleeds into other parts of your day. And it's very interesting.
Well, they say it's very good, like concentration-wise, getting you to focus and be in the now.
Because I'm crap at focusing.
Yeah.
Everyone's going around and they're thinking 3 shots ahead, and I'm like, oh, look at the tree, it's a beautiful tree. Look at the way the mask goes on the tree. And I'm like, okay, fucking cracker. So welcome to the Blackbird, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
You're very welcome.
I was wondering, how did you get into your trade?
Well, I won't bore you with the long story of it, but I suppose I was always looking for something different. I think, like, as a kid growing up, I grew up in Northern Ireland.
Did you?
I was the only Catholic in a Protestant boarding school at the height of the Troubles.
Whereabouts in Northern Ireland?
Originally from Green Island or Carrickfergus.
Carrickfergus, don't know where that is.
Okay.
But I was up
Kenny Antrim.
We were in Derry recently. Okay. Well, this year for UKIFAC. It's like an international competition between Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland.
Yeah.
And I was very, very unnerved by all the Union Jacks I saw in one particular town. I thought Nazi Germany straight away. And when people hear you say Derry, then I think he made a mistake. And I'm like, no, I didn't make a fucking mistake. That's Derry. Because I'm in my country, in my head. But I arrive in there, because I haven't been there since I was a kid, at a school thing.
Yeah.
And I arrive, it's just, you're so detached, I suppose, from the reality of the situation. And then you've got in a car and you've drove there.
Yeah.
So there's no passports in your head. You're in your country, and all these squatters then with their flags and whatnot, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?" So that was an interesting reaction because I was thinking, "Why do you care?
Yeah,
this is their place. They're doing their thing." And I'm like, no. There's that undercurrent of what the fuck. Yeah. But no, look. It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah. No, but I think growing up as a kid, so my mum was an English Catholic, my dad an Ulster Protestant. And
interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So, it took my grandparents about 30 years before my mum sort of won them over.
30 years.
About that, yeah. So that I suppose I was always on the sort of the periphery of things. I was never... So I've always looked for something different, and I'm sure that's how I got into chiropractic. Like, chiropractic's not... mainstream, it's not. It's looking for different answers. It's
been around a while though, hasn't it? I did a little digging,
1895.
1895.
Yeah,
but I thought what I thought was a bit screwy was the way the guy came up with it.
What?
I mean, I liked it in a weird kind of way, but I thought, you're going to get so crucified by the media.
What version did you?
The seance.
Oh yeah. Okay, with the dead man.
Yeah. No, there's See, I'm big into Wicca and all of that stuff.
Okay.
I used to be very big into it. I mean, the tarot cards and all of that jazz, because I just felt drawn to it. So I'm that kind of individual. If I'm drawn to something, no matter how bizarre it might seem to everyone, and even to myself, I said, well, I am feeling it, so I'll have a little look-see. Mm-hmm. I got well into it, the whole ideology, the history, the fucking ignorance that it showed of mankind towards people who are... And the church has a lot to do with it, of the villainization of it all. And I mean, most of their holidays are from the Wicca. And there's in Venice, or where is it? The Vatican.
Yeah.
The Vatican has a lot of naughty about it. Oh, I mean, where it's built of itself, it's built on top of a city where underneath it was a big deal for the witches of the Wicca. Okay. Whatever you want to call it. Okay. I'm in the middle of a very interesting documentary about that.
Wow, okay.
And it's just... people are just... Some people, man, they shouldn't be born, you know what I mean? They're just bad people.
Yeah, no. But it's funny you said it, because the start, like, I suppose, you know, however anything starts doesn't matter, but the only thing that matters is results.
But look how long it's been going, and it's going from strength to strength. And you gotta be thinking, well, there's got to be something to it. Because there's a lot of success stories, more so than... I mean, no matter what you pick up in life, you're going to find someone's banging the drum and mocking it and ridiculing it. No, even in the accepted professions, even.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I've seen in everything is an infiltration of a mind disease, and it's about 100 years in now.
Yeah.
So all the Scooby-Doo stuff that's kind of happening seems to be part of a plan, part of a process, and you can't fight. It's harder to fight an institution, especially when it's so grand. It's because you're dealing with generations there. It's easy to say, all right, there's the army, that's the enemy, we got to get rid of them. Okay, let's do that. But when you can't even point out with certainty, there's so much smoke and mirror stuff, this psychological warfare, chemical warfare, your diet is against you, you're indoctrinated into things that you're totally oblivious to. Your school education is a sham. Of course, if you're anyway awake at all to yourself, you're going to say, well, fuck this. I'm going to find something that feels real. And I suppose, like chiropractor, hands-on, I mean, your senses, your touch, you can tell an awful lot. I mean, I have a job now doing the stonework, and because I'm afraid of heights, sometimes I have to see with my fingers, if you know what I mean. Okay. So, okay, I need this, and then I figure out, and I reach around and do what I have to do, but I call it seeing with my hands kind of thing.
Okay.
So there's an awful lot of, I can trust that more than I can trust the suit talking some bullshit with his, the stats say you put a man on the moon, and I don't believe that either. So give me something better than that.
I think the whole thing with science today will be laughed at in 20 years' time.
100%.
Just like we do now. So like everything we're told, it's science-based. Well,
what science?
What science? Absolutely. So the only thing that you can really go on is your own experience and how it affects you. And you've got to, like, it actually was interesting when you were talking about just, all the knowledge we're exposed to these days. I heard a very, very interesting thing recently, and it was just how you disseminate knowledge, and it's sort of fact, theory, fantasy. So if we get into a disagreement, it's because what I say is factual, you're contradicting. So one of us is wrong. So what's fact to me may not be fact to you. So at best, most of our facts are theories.
Yeah.
So if you put it through that filter, like, do I really know that's fact? Most of the time you don't.
Well, I like to wake up every morning and look out the window at the beautiful landscape, regardless of the weather, and say, I know fucking nothing. I'm here so long, I still know nothing. Yeah, the more I know, the more I know I don't know.
Exactly.
And that goes back to the manipulation thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I should know more than what I do, you know what I mean? But it's like, you can get so... I think emotions, while they're your strength, they're also your weakness. Mm-hmm. They can cloud you in a moment, and you could do terrible things with your words or with your actions.
Yeah.
So I think a discipline worthy of pursuing is to kind of calm that down, or at least try to put the reins on a bit and just say, all right, I'm going to take myself emotionally out of this equation.
Easier said than done.
It is very much easier said than done. Okay, talking to the.
but everything starts with awareness, doesn't it?
It does.
Be aware of it.
It does. I mean, it's a pickle. Like, it really is a pickle. That's why I like, first-hand foods and first-hand experiences. They're the only schools that you can go by. And even I was trying to explain to Sebastian, the 5-year-old, the other day about the chicken we were having for dinner. He said, what is it? Because he could see there was no head. She was doing the stuffing while she was prepping it, and he was like, that's disgusting. What is going on here? So I said, look, you go out, you get a chicken, you chop his head off, you chop his legs off, and then you take all his feathers off, and then you gut him. And he's just getting paler and paler and paler. And I'm like, it's like if you were to go hunting, if you're allowed to go hunting, and if you're good enough with a bow or a rifle, and you shoot a deer in the field, what you have to do, because I was doing a job recently for a guy who goes hunting with a rifle. Him and his wife go hunting, and they were telling me all about the process and the amount of education required before they can even do that. It was crazy, but it was very interesting. And she was telling me what they do with this carcass, I suppose. And I'm like, so I'm trying to explain it to him. And he's just, again, getting paler and paler. And she's looking at me then like, what the fuck are you doing? He's 5.
That's another vegan now.
And I'm like, yeah, but he needs to know these things. I said, I knew these things because my grandfather, I can still even remember today, coming up from the old tracks, he'd have a bike and he'd have about 20 rabbits hanging off the bike, and the shoulder would have the rifle. And they'd go in and they'd have Michelangelo go paint them or whatever. And you'd be having rabbit stew for the week, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you were always, and with the fish, the mother would be always gutting so we were always exposed to that. And organs, we'd eat a lot of organs when we were kids. You could see the kidneys, heart. The heart was like, you could bounce it on the floor, man. Yeah. So we were always exposed to that. So for me, it's normal to talk to the 5-year-old child. But she's over there then like, what are you doing? So I'm very real with them, as real as I can be. Yeah. But you can, there's ways of delivering the information as well. You're obviously not going to go into great detail. Just give them the facts. Yeah, they shot him, they killed him, took his heart out, bled him into a bucket, put him on the truck, bring him home, hang him in the freezer. Ba-boom.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's experience, like going through the woods, being aware of the effect that has on you. Is amazing. And then you're like, how come no one else is getting this? And then you start thinking about trees in a different way. Then you start looking up people who've devoted their life to studying trees and their scientific process of proving X, Y, and Z, and to communicate. Even when I found out one day that, because you'd forget so much academically when you leave school. I think everyone does.
Totally. It's not designed for education. It's designed to remember facts and just regurgitate it on the paper, and that's it. It's just
monkey jump, monkey do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But when I was learning this thing about what I'm big into at the moment is vibrations and what is it, frequencies. Okay. And that light, just sunlight, has a frequency and all of this jazz, and then the interact is just mind blowing kind of thing. And I'm like, we are living in magic. As you can, if I was to do an animation of what I've taken in from that guy, would say, you would think it's a magic storybook. This is a make-believe thing. No, this is actually what's going on right outside the door.
Right now. Yeah.
Just plug into it. Yeah. So I'd be like, it's like you're very aware of the kids are around all the time. So I'm always trying to have these little bombs going off, and if they disagree, they rarely do because they don't know what you're talking about anyway, but they'll question, and you're just trying to make sure that they're constantly looking. And if they leave the house at whatever age they leave, if they're completely confused, great, but if they're willing to try to figure out, what'll make me unconfused,
Well, the thing is, they ask questions, because if you ask questions, you'll get answers. And if you keep asking different questions, you get different answers, and different answers will lead to different results.
Exactly.
So absolutely, that's important. Crucial.
But one of the best ones I did by accident last week, he was asking me I don't know what it was. I was kind of tired. I wasn't in the mood for that. I felt like I was being grilled by the Gardaí or something. So I said, okay, look, I don't know. And he goes, why don't you know? Because I'll tell you why. We'll Google it. So we Google it, we got the answer. And I goes, there's your answer. And then he goes, he was happy out. And I goes, that's an answer. That doesn't mean it's the answer.
Yeah.
So if you really want to know, you have to go further than Google. Yeah. Okay? So how bad do you need to know? No, I'm good. Of course you are, you lazy. So you're always trying to let these little things filter in. But then again, they might just look at me and say, well, my dad was a whack job. Yeah. But my mother was okay.
It's like, we all have that anyway.
I think you wait till they're a particular age where they're not so dependent on you every second of the day, and that kind of gives you the opportunity to crawl a little bit back of your life that you believe you've lost. Like, okay, I have interests. I have things that I need to be getting after because the last 5-10 years I've been busy with these rugrats. So you do start, I'm always saying it to Lucy, you better get hobbies going or some interest. You better start fleshing them out because they'll be gone like that.
So they will be gone like that.
And you'll be missing them.
But the older they get, the more work they take. So
I heard that. What was he saying? Small kids, small problems. Big kids, big problems.
Absolutely.
The life sentence, isn't it? So.
But then the thing is, like, I always, when I'm giving out, you find yourself just in one of those sort of moods, and you think, I try, and again, when you say it's like, trying to be a little bit retrospective, really, it's almost keep things in perspective. I always sort of think, okay, why am I giving out? Oh, it's because I get to do this rather than I have to do it. Yeah, I suddenly just change, and it just suddenly
it's like, amazing how you can change.
Absolutely, like, why am I giving out by washing his things? Well, what would be the alternative if I wasn't giving out about this? Yeah. I'd be a miserable kid on my own.
Well, there's that. Yeah. But back to the north. Were you brought up in the north?
Yeah. So I went to boarding school from 7.5.
Boarding school?
Yeah, in the north. Yeah.
Aren't we posh? What was that like?
Well, because I was a miserable kid. They wanted rid of me. No, it was fine. Like, you look back and it breaks my mum's heart now when we bring it up because she thinks it was wrong. But it was just that was the
world you lived in.
The world we lived in. That was what happened. So I went 7.5, and then it was my secondary school when I boarded in Enniskillen, and it was a different experience. I can't say I enjoyed my secondary school, but it wasn't that anything was really wrong. But it was just, I never felt part of that.
Yeah, it didn't cater to you.
It just really didn't. And then, you leave, I was lazy, didn't do any work, sort of screwed up in that time our A levels. Had to redo the final year, and then I sort of thought, geez, I don't know what I want to do. So I sort of looked at universities and just thought, okay, what university would be good? Found a university I liked. Then, okay, what course can I do? And then I ended up doing engineering and...
Engineering?
Building engineering.
I just popped this on.
Yeah. Engineering, and then that was 4 years. I knew after the first year that it wasn't for me, but I was having a great time, having a ball.
Was that the life of the student?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was great. But then while I was doing, and again, things happen for a reason apparently. While I was there, a very distant relation of mine, this was in England, he was a chiropractor. And I never knew anything about chiropractic, but he was passionate about what he did. He was really successful, had a really good reputation, got great results. And I sort of thought, he's happy with his job. He enjoys it. He's working for himself. Because I could never work for anyone else.
I hear you.
I just couldn't conform to that. So anyway, then as the 4 years went on, I just got closer and closer to them as a family, and I thought, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then I went to chiropractic college, did 4 more years, and then qualified in 95. Went and worked with him for 2 years, and then just had an opportunity to buy the practice in Kilworth, just from a very good friend of mine. And it was just, I knew I had to go on my own. I couldn't work always for someone, so I was looking at different places around England and stuff like that. And then I spoke to a friend of mine, and he said, well, he's moving into Cork, what about buying this place? And I thought he was joking.
So there was a chiropractor there before you?
Yeah, there's been a chiropractor there since about, I suppose, 40 years.
Fuck.
So, yeah.
I'm just so tunnel vision on things.
Yeah, no, so it's been there for a while. So then I came over, looked at it, and then within a very short space of time, I took it over, and that was
a lovely location, isn't it? Kilworth's beautiful,
and it's so accessible. Like now with the motorway, it's really, really, like we have so many patients who come from Dublin and things like that.
Really. Mm-hmm. And is there anything? I know it's a bit generalisation, but would there be a general pattern of of complaint? Like, well, most of it is this kind of a complaint.
Great. Not really a general. I suppose probably 60% of people come in because of some pain-based complaint. Some pain. And again, just looking in terms of general health, like there's so many different pathways to health. There's different things, but my attitude is very much the body's self-healing. Like if you cut yourself, that cut should heal. Yeah. So if someone's got a health complaint, no matter whether it's pain-based, whether it's to do with circulation, to do with their digestion, something's interfering with the body's normal flow, because it's not normal to be sick. The normal state is to be healthy, but the trouble is, like as we said in the kitchen, these days we're fed all this bullshit that it's fine to have all these symptoms, but we'll just give you a tablet. You can mask the symptom, and naively you may think you're fine.
Yes.
How can you be fine?
And on top of that, your body has a new thing.
Another thing to do it. So and I'm not saying that medication stuff is not necessary. Absolutely, it has its place. But medicine's meant to be emergency healthcare. Yeah, it's not a health profession. You've got to be sick to use.
But the corruption in the drug industry alone, I mean, it's just been
crazy. So you have to. So to me, it's wrong for people to sort of give out all these pills and tablets and potions and stuff if you're not going to actually tell them, look, this will maybe slow things down, that may make you feel a little bit better, but you have to change. You've got to do it. So my attitude, towards health is very much, okay, I'm there to help the body heal itself. So we help balance the body, help to remove interference, and where possible, give them, aspects and ideas and things that they can work on just in terms of natural law. Like there's certain natural law. Like if you drink a bottle of whiskey every day, you're going to get into trouble. So there's certain common sense in terms of nourishment, in terms of exercise, in terms of sleep, in terms of general sanitation, things like that. Yeah. And unless you start addressing those, well, we end up where we are.
Yeah. I think, what would your opinion be on people's relationship with pain?
Well, the pain's not the problem.
I always thought it's just the indicator, but it's like you can't be just giving out about the pain. You gotta.
Well, why is the pain there? Yeah. So like if you had a smoke alarm in here, if the smoke alarm's going off, if the smoke alarm's going off, you could easily say, like, don't worry, Ed, it's fine. I'll just take the battery out.
Yeah. Or hit it with a shoe.
Like
you gotta see why did it go off?
Where's the smoke? Where's the fire?
Or is it the battery?
Or is it there's a reason why, there? Yeah. There's a reason why. So like your body isn't stupid. Like your body took you from 2 cells. 9 months later, 70 trillion cells or whatever it is later, machine. And it can heal a cut, it can fix a broken bone, it can grow skin cells, it can digest an apple, it can do all these things which we don't even begin to comprehend.
But our education is so non-existent nearly with regard. I mean, they say allegedly we are living in the year 2024. They say a lot of things allegedly. There's a lot of fucking mystery still there that people just assume to either dismiss or they just want to be oblivious to anything that might require you to do some work. You know what I mean? And that's like, fuck.
But that's exactly it. We've really, I suppose, what's the word? We've given the responsibility to our health and our bodies to someone else, and we think that's fine. No. And it's crazy. It's crazy. You can't do it.
It's like how many times on social media, or you don't need social media. You see with gatherings, your sisters, your cousins, mainly it's the women, and there's always some diet they're talking about. Oh, yeah. None of them will go talk to a jockey. Yeah. I mean, a jockey is on a diet for life. Yeah. I don't like diets. I don't like the idea of them.
Well, just look at the word diet. It's all about deprivation.
I just think,
it's not sustainable.
Get what you want. Well, first of all, I suppose, get what you need. Get your basic understanding what you need to function. Yeah. And then just say, okay, what has all that in it? Yeah. And then that's what you feel your...
But also what works for you. Because you could get a vegetarian, a vegan, a fruitarian, a paleo guy, someone who believes in intermittent fasting. They will all swear that they've got the research.
Yeah. But you just look at them and half of them are lying.
And it's really funny because the patients we see that have most digestive problems in the clinic are the ones who are most paranoid about their food.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
all a mindset.
Mindset is crucial because I was watching a conversation there recently, and is she a doctor or psychologist? Probably some big deal psychologist person. And she was basically saying that the more people are talking about their issues, like their body issues or their health issues, if it's like every day, all day, they're actually making it worse. And she said there's no curing that, there's no fixing that, unless they make the change.
They have to stop.
Yeah, stop talking about this. Just say, okay, this needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
You know, and
but that all comes like you know, when we look, like, your brain controls everything we do. Now your mind is a function of your brain. So you've got your conscious mind, which is sight, smell, touch, taste. That's the environment around us that we're aware of. But your subconscious mind is the thing that runs the show.
Isn't that the mystery, though, the subconscious?
Well, because you can't see it. You can, like, no one can see your mind.
No.
You know, and we think in pictures. So, but whatever that 85%, like, as you're sitting there, you know, your body's keeping your temperature at a set thing. Your heart is kept beating. You're breathing. You're doing all that stuff. That's all subconscious. But the thing is, your subconscious mind is ruled and governed by concepts and beliefs and things like that. And that's why health is such a fascinating subject, because we all have certain ideas.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, we hear so often, it's, you know, as I get older, I'll get X, Y, and Z. Well, if that's your belief, exactly you said a minute ago, what you think about, you bring about. In terms of vibration, in terms of everything. Because your body will resonate to things. Because your subconscious mind is just like it's just a lackey doing what it's told. Its job is not to question. It's not to question whether it's real or unreal. It'll just do.
Self-fulfilling prophecy of a sort.
Totally. So, like, you know, and people say, oh, that's weird. But so we see it all the time. So, like, you know, if I measured your blood pressure now, we'd get a reading.
Perfect.
Okay, absolutely perfect. Then go and run up the street. Your blood pressure should go up.
Yeah.
But then let's do a different scenario. I'll just say, okay, like, something you're really afraid of, like, say someone who's public speaking or something like that. I said, okay, I'm going to take you this afternoon and you're going to stand in front of 500 people and you're going to talk.
Right.
What happens to your blood pressure? It's going up, but nothing's happening. It's not real.
It's the mind.
It's your mind. So we know our mind is having an effect on our physiology.
Oh, yeah.
So all those concepts, all those beliefs have been basically programmed into us from the get-go. So you're talking about your kids, like between the age of 0 and 7, they don't think consciously. Everything's subconscious. So everything you put into them, everything you tell them, you know, whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, that stays in the subconscious mind, and that affects their behavior, affects their being, affects their bodies. Right. And as they get older, they suddenly
reprogram.
There we go. But the only way you can change that is by basically becoming aware of it, and then you have to then make a bigger concept that overruns that. You know, and like you know, this is where, you know, this whole thing is so fascinating. Like we give talks very regularly, but one of the sort of the classic things to demonstrate how powerful that was it goes back in early 1900s. I think it was in India. So in India they had the death penalty, and they had a guy who was going to be executed, and I think they hung them in those days or whatever. And they were starting to experiment or explore this whole idea of the mind and how powerful it is. So they said to him, okay, you've got a choice here. Okay, we'll either hang you the traditional way, or we'll do this new technique which is totally painless. And he sort of thought, well, he knew he was going to die. So he said, okay, I'll take that thing. So they basically tied his hands and legs to the bed, and they said, we're going to put a blindfold on you, we're going to cut the back of your neck, and we're going to bleed you dry.
Jesus Christ.
So he sort of thought, okay, well, it's not as bad as being hung. So they basically cut the back of his neck, and this has all been documented in medical journals and stuff like that. But what he didn't realize was the moment they cut the back of his neck, they resealed it. But what they then did was they then started pouring warm liquid over the back of his throat. Yeah. So, and they had a collecting bucket below the bed. So drip, 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 drip. How long? Like, what happened? 6 minutes later, what happened?
Don't tell me he died.
He died.
Are you kidding me?
He died. No, he died. And his body went through exactly the same physiological changes that it would have happened if
that's amazing.
It'd been bled to death. And that was the power of the mind, because all concepts in your subconscious mind will manifest in your body. And you can see it over and over again in medicine now. Like, how many times do people get diagnosed, like they feel fine, they go for a checkup, oh Jesus, what's wrong? Look at this, we found this. Something serious going on. They'll get sick.
I noticed this with people who get diagnosed with cancers. The few will say, well, I'm going to beat this. And they do.
And they do.
But some within 2 weeks, man, they're gone.
Absolutely. But also, how many times do you hear stories of people being diagnosed with a certain problem,
and it's like
and on the autopsy, they find something completely different.
Yeah, it's fucking.
So this is and this is why we're very aware of like filtering our diets and stuff like that. People are very, very aware of that, but we don't filter what goes in here.
Exactly, yeah.
We just take it like that. So, you're
the music you listen to.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Very important.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, even the lyrics in a song can be very... It can mess with you.
Totally mess with you.
And but the frequency they were recorded in is another thing. Yeah. We are such... We're babies. We're babies.
No, yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah. But then you also mentioned earlier on about emotions.
Yes.
Like, our emotions have the most powerful effect on your body than anything. Like, any negative emotion will destroy your body.
Some of the positive ones good.
I get it. But it really is, that's...
But there's mystery abounding. I mean, you can say, well, we think it's this, we're aware of it, but we just don't know where it's coming from.
No. Yeah.
It's like dreams. Where are they coming from? What's that about?
I don't know. But that fact theory fantasy. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, do you ever get those, what do you call it? You might have one of those dreams that is so real that when you wake up, you're confused. Which is my life, which is my reality.
What's reality, yeah.
And then it might be a sequence of events in the dream involving a person you've never seen before. And then 6 months later, you get a little flutter because it's like, it might be the scenario, but the person's face might show up somewhere
or something. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we don't like we no one does know. Even people say,
100%,
this is the way it is.
Yeah.
We don't know that. Like they say with dreams, it's just your brain trying to sort of learn to memorize things. Or
I think that's lazy. Most of the things I've heard explanation wise, I immediately think, well, that's just lazy. You're not even trying to answer the question there. That's just you're lazy.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
And we shouldn't pretend to know either.
But I think I think a lot of it has to do with intuition. I think your intuition is another... everything you can point at has been like neglected. And school systems, I have a very big bone to pick with. Across the world, school systems, I have a few issues with them. I don't like them. I think they should be all scrapped. And I think there should be, something a bit more comprehensive brought in, because this isn't built to make you a better person or a fuller person.
No.
It's there to make you a monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, pass an exam.
Whatever we need, school, teach them that. We need slaves over here for this. So that's the sexy subject. Get them on it. So I never had a good idea with school. Art was the only thing I probably loved. It's probably not, and they wouldn't let me do that till I think it was the last year.
Wow.
And then I got expelled because I wouldn't cut my hair. That's where we were living. And then the art teacher actually got me back in so I could do the art subject as a Leaving Cert subject.
Wow.
And all this was playing out, and you'd be like, this is bullshit. All of it is bullshit. And I don't think anyone can get like enthusiastic or energized or focused or like, I'm going to win this, I'm going to get this. And like, what's the point? This is clearly bullshit. They're all just acting out some fucking...
But then, unfortunately, that's we have to play that game.
Oh, you don't. You didn't. You didn't either.
But I still went through them. I went through the process.
You matrixed your way around it. You did your
still, our experiences get us to where we are now.
Oh, absolutely.
So rightly or wrongly, and this is, I suppose, a bigger issue in terms of if we're happy with who we are,
Then you're what? What are you happy about?
But if you know what I mean, like it's sort of that's what made us.
I know. But look, you could say this, that when you're born, and not only your physical self, but do you ever hear this theory about the memory of is it the blood cells or the DNA? That your ancestral memories are passed down physically.
Well, yeah.
There's so many awesome ideas worthy of thinking about.
Yeah.
So it's like, my personality, your personality, how much of that is you? And how much of that is a combination of not only your mother and father, but and so on and so forth. Yeah. So how much is you? They did it very well in that, I don't know if you're into the comic book world, but Superman.
Okay.
When Superman was launched to Earth, the DNA of species, his species, was injected into his blood, so it wouldn't be lost. And then, so that in my head means it's like we all have the same kind of not the blood thing, but you know what I mean. It's like an analogy of a sort that when you are launched here, you have that information of your lineage, and
but I suppose a lot of that's to do with evolution. Like, you know, how but we survive. Like, we're here for two reasons: survival and reproduction. Like, as we sort of, you know, those two things, because if we don't survive,
evolution is, in my opinion, like many of them, only a theory, and it was laughed upon.
Maybe, but we still have these tendencies that
I believe we are fully. This is the end product. All right, we're not. It's not been utilized to its maximum, but this is the end product. This is what you got. This is whoever created man. This is what they came up with. There was no time meant nothing to us. It doesn't do anything.
Material, apparently.
Everything is as it was meant to be from the word, and that's it. That there's no fucking like we were this and we grew into. No, you're made a man. You're made a woman. End of. And I'm not even getting religious. This is just a belief. It's like the architect of life. There's a man, there's a woman. Keep them company. They'll procreate. And the information they require to evolve in a sense, not physically, but psychologically, emotionally, all of these, would say the software for the hardware, that's where the evolution can be, because it's the learning. But the body, the hardware, that's just the way it was made from day one. There's been no changes.
No.
And to be honest with you, I have a few issues with the whole dinosaur thing as well. I mean, what the fuck? You're telling me like the world was covered with these things, and you're getting the odd skeleton here and there? Get the fuck. No, there's a lot of fuckery afoot, and you gotta go Indiana Jones on it, like, you know what I mean? There is loads of answers still to be found, but it seems that there is like an effort nearly to stop you, to belittle you, to, you know, character assassination.
Even going back, you know, schooling wise, you're not taught to think out of the box.
No,
like,
you're
that's
reprimanded.
Absolutely, that's the wrong thing to do. You know, so yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that's why I love to. I was always just drawing. If I was at the back of the class doing caricatures as a teacher, you know, I'd be just scribbling ideas out, trying to do what people would say is poems, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Sometimes it's a song. You grab a guitar, you try to mess around with that, make a noise that works, and then marry it together and enjoy it. But all the while, then that feeds a visual element to you and it's like you go into this trance-like state, and then you start getting all these images, and then there's a whole package there, and then you try to, if you're lucky, get it coherently onto the canvas, and then in that, because it's a different, there are all these languages put together, but then when you take them apart again, they give you that energy, but they don't give you the same impact when they're all together. So it's like music videos would be a perfect example of that. You know, that, or even if you watch, sometimes I see these clips about famous scenes in a movie where there's a speech going on, and then you have the music creeping into the scene, and you have a quality actor who's portraying it so perfectly, and you get tingly, and you're like, fuck, I'd run through a brick wall for this one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's interesting. So in school, it was like, I never had that feeling, that tingle, until I think maybe when we got this new art teacher. Well, I didn't have, like I said, I had to beg to get into the art.
Okay.
And then this art teacher would just kind of put you at the back of the class, because it was clear that I was the only one who was doing it all the time.
Okay.
So I had an aptitude, and she'd bring in all these calendars of these masters, like, and I just gravitated towards Caravaggio and Michelangelo. They were the boys. Okay. Everyone's going on about Da Vinci. I think he's a sham. He had probably the best marketing team, but as an artist, sham. Okay. Michelangelo has to be number one of all time. And then you have Caravaggio. in his brief, violent life created some unbelievable work. Even if he did use the equivalent of a projector, that's irrelevant. It's what he got on the canvas was just mind-blowing. But so that's where the fireworks would come for me. If that was like 9 to 5, I wouldn't miss a day.
Okay. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah. I'm a Philistine when it comes to art. That was not my. That didn't
but
float my boat at
that's
all.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point you make, because you're one of the majority who think this way, and that is a fucking disgrace. Not on ye, but on those who like the art world and not a bunch of criminals. Okay.
But also, I think a lot of it as well is sort of, there's a lot of the Emperor's New Clothes when it comes to
100%. 100. Look, I see a lot of paintings. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're not an artist. You're not even related to an artist. Get the fuck out of here. You're just acting the maggot.
Yeah.
And then people think, oh, you're just fuck off. I know what it is to fucking gruel 6 months of an effort to try to perfect a thing that was a flash in the pan in your head one moment, and then to get it right and to get it wrong. I know what that is, and I know what it looks like when I see it. When you have this bullshit, then it irritates me no end. That's where I find it hard not to be emotional.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, you fucking car salesman motherfucker. I just want to get violent on some people, you know what I mean? Because when you do have that access to energy, like especially emotional energy, so readily, you have to be very disciplined with yourself, or you get into an awful lot of trouble. And you can get yourself.
But again, this is like, it's a perception. Like there's two sides to everything.
Well, of course, yeah.
There's right or wrong. But we're all.
But we're contradictions as well, because as we learn and grow, we're changing all the time. I mean, I'm not gonna today. I might believe this.
Yeah.
But then through conversations and through experiences, I might change my mind 100% completely the other way.
Right. But that's where that fact theory fancy is really, really useful, because if you take something as fact and you're criticizing that, well, one of us is wrong. Whereas if we can have a conversation and say, well, this is what I believe, don't know whether it's true. It's a very different attitude and aspect and things like that. So, like with anything, what's black and white? Well, no, it's never black or white. You've got all the shades in between.
Yes.
Everything. And I think that's the biggest thing, no matter what it is, whether it's art world, whether it's anything. It's sort of, we all see the world through our own eyes.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, I think,
Yeah, because like you took your path down to be a chiropractor. I don't know I'm a pirate, I guess. and you're drawn more in line to what will get you to your goal, because that's where you're.
Well, you have to have a passion. You have to believe
definitely.
In something.
That's where you're going to get
what it is. Absolutely.
And you're going to go for it. Yeah. And when you get it, then you're like, well, that was satisfying.
But go back to kids. Like these days, the goals are being knocked out of them. Don't be fucking stupid.
Everyone gets a medal.
Don't be stupid. You can't be Superman, or you can't be this, or can't be that. Let them dream. Let them go towards it.
That is not the case.
No.
To my regret. Okay. But I said it to herself from day one, when because we did actually have a conversation. Okay, I suppose we will have kids. And then it was like, but if we do, we gotta make them as wild and feral by the time we send them into the world. And I said, that's going to fuck us up. Yeah. We're going to take the brunt of it. We'll be the first victims of their energy. But I was fine with it. She said she was fine with it, but in typical female fashion, she's changed her mind on that. Well, I'm still charging through with it, Yeah. But, they're mental. But I love their mentalness. There's such a creative vibe off them. Junior is just... He needs to be in a drama school, as far as I'm concerned. He's like a method actor, and he's got all these different characters, and you don't know it's so random.
What characters coming there? Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's like, and then he could just switch it all off and go painting for months or drawing. You give him a sketchbook, you'd be thinking that'll keep him quiet. In an hour, that's full. He's just a stream of fucking creative thoughts. There's a lot of stuff repeated, but it's tweaked. Because she used to mock me about that. She goes, you're doing the same thing, da 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 da. And I goes, I'm perfecting it. But it's like, sometimes you just can't communicate it, articulate it with words alone. You're just like, I know what I'm doing, that's all that matters. I don't need to explain it. So maybe that's somewhere in the back.
Well, again, it goes to that subconscious mind. They're just absorbing all of this stuff. They're being influenced by everything around them.
Oh, look,
and good or bad, they're still absorbing it.
Well, they need good and bad, and they need the happy and sad, because the balance is very important.
Oh, totally.
You know, they'll tune it into
one without the other.
Day and night. You know, so. But it's like when I was, because of the whole pain thing back in the day, and I was like, well, how would you say? You're not happy with the doctor, so you start looking into other things. There was one thing I was listening to recently, actually, and then you popped up with your video, and I was like, I gotta make a move here.
Okay.
Because I was listening to a podcast that I didn't choose to listen to. I just had the phone on at work. I was up on a scaffold, so I'm not great in scaffolding now. So I'm not rushing to shut anything off.
Okay.
So one podcast just flipped onto another one, and this one was called "The Wood from the Trees." Okay. Some lad up the country. It's very good. I enjoy listening to him, but I don't know what he was doing. But turns out his buddy is into this Chinese medicine thing where if he can look at you, because he's invested so much time and whatever into it, he can look at a person. And if they have a mild or any kind of complaint, he can say, well, that's because of this organ is in charge of that particular part of the body on the surface. And he says what you need to do to address that. And then they have this, I don't know, process. But it sounded very complex. But it sounded very cool and very interesting. And I was like, the way he explained it, I was like, I can get behind that. I'd be willing to listen to more.
Okay.
Because he explained it very well, very articulate, and it was just informative, and it was very interesting. And then you popped up with the chiropractor, and I goes, chiropractor, what's that? Is that? So you Google things, and then it's like, I imagine you get a lot of like, so you snap bones? Is that what you do? And you realign spines? Like, fuck. How the trust required from? I'd never personally. Because I have trust issues. I just do.
Yeah, fair enough.
I see a lot of... No, I have trust issues.
Yeah. But you gain trust by, I suppose, answering the right questions. And asking the right questions.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah, if someone comes in and we literally do whatever, that would maybe a trust breaker. But the bottom line is, to go back to, say, our health, like the way I see my role is just helping you adapt better. I can't fix your pain. I can't take your pain away. I can't heal your body.
We're best friends at this stage. It's been there forever, and it's like, well, if I woke up and it wasn't there anymore,
you might be.
I'd be like unbalanced.
But you may well be right, absolutely. But the thing is, your body has an inherent ability to heal. If it hasn't healed, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So my attitude is, okay, if your brain controls every part of you, so you've literally got 6 systems. If those 6 areas of the brain that control the 6 systems is working better, your body has to function better. Where does the spine come into that? Well, your brain is communicating through your nervous system. Your spine protects the nervous system.
That's so
if your nervous system, if your spine is out of alignment, then that could be impacting the nervous system. That can also then hinder the flow of information from here.
Right.
So my attitude is, okay, let's balance the brain by stimulating the spine, remove interference of the spine, and then we're giving your body the best opportunity to feel and function better. Does that mean that everyone's aches and pains and all their problems disappear? No, not necessarily. But it helps them function better. And that's all I can do is just help. Every single time a patient comes in, it's let's help you function better. And everyone has that tipping point, but no one stands still. So what are they doing? Are you moving the right way or are you moving the wrong way?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And because, like even as we're sitting here now, millions of cells are changing. They used to say it takes, 7 years for every cell in your body to be replaced.
Regenerate or something.
Well, now the latest, I can't remember the name of the guy a couple of years ago, but it's now 84 days. 84 days for every single cell in your body to be replaced. So that means that you have the potential to be completely new.
Yes.
But this is the thing. So people, I was asked, it was a great question. They said, well, if our cells have been replaced every 84 days, why am I so fucked up? Why have I got all these issues? Because your cells have been replaced in conjunction to the response from here.
All right.
So your brain is receiving information from your cells, and then your brain gives the instruction, gives the orders. So if the cells are feeding the wrong information to the brain, or there's some interference to the signaling that reaches the brain, then the response from the brain is going to be wrong. But also, if the brain is not balanced, it's going to send the wrong information back. And that's why sort of the mistake just keeps getting compounded. And that's why we have chronic illness. So we have to do something to break that. So how do we break that? Well, there's certain things, as we said, the natural laws, our nutrition, our exercise, our sleep, sanitation, things like that. That's a huge part of it, because that will affect it. You mentioned the emotions. They say, 98% of everything goes on our body is affected by this, by emotions. Our thoughts and our emotions. It's huge.
Unbelievably so.
Yeah. Exactly. So look. Like so often, like people come in and they'll say, "Oh, geez, my low back's really, really sore." Okay, what do you do? Well, all I did, it's the alls I did syndrome. All I did was bend down, pick a sock up off the floor, and they think that was the problem. No, because they do that every day. They do that millions of times. Why was it something like that one time? Because the likelihood is something pissed them off. That creates tension. That creates an issue. And your body is like a sink filling with water. It just happened to sink overflow at that point. That's it. But 98% of the time, it's our emotions. It's not whilst the food and all that stuff is very important, trauma, accidents and chemical wise, like when you look at stress, like what, chemical, physical, emotional. Emotion's the biggie. That's the big thing. And particularly in this environment. We were talking about social media earlier on. Well, I heard a study that said that in 10 minutes these days, we're absorbing more information than our ancestors did 100 years ago in a lifetime. Well, so there's so much information being bombarded into our brain. So there's a filter. There's this filter, and it's just your brain will accept certain things, but the brain will accept things that you give attention to. So if you're told you're going to die in a week's time, if you accept that, well, that's exactly what will happen. Yeah.
No, there's so much there with meat on it, like that you could just get into.
Oh, huge!
So
huge,
long,
huge.
And there's no end in sight. But again, I'm like I go back to we are contradictions because we learn, because we choose to learn.
Yep.
And then we change our step or our stance on a thing, or our approach. Like, I don't know how many different ways I've approached physical fitness, and then, then it splits off into so many branches off. I mean, it used to be all about running and weight training.
Yeah.
But that's a long time ago. That's like all through your 20s, early 30s. Then it's like, I don't know, is it boredom or just curiosity? But now stretching was way more important to me. I mean, stretching, even my hands, I'd be like, reach out, just doing that. Like, while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil in the morning, I'm doing all this jazz. And you're up in the balls of your feet when you're brushing your teeth, all that. So it's implemented into your every waking moment.
But the thing with that, the bottom line is, like, you're right, because exercise is very artificial. But the thing is, it's movement.
Yeah.
If you're moving, it doesn't matter what you're moving. Like, people go, like, what's the best exercise? No, movement. That's the only thing that matters. So someone could, if you love going to the gym.
I hate the gym.
I hate the gym as well. So, but I'll exercise doing what I like to do. Because if you hate it, you're not going to get much benefit out of it.
Well, I hate
movement is the key.
For the reasons I tried it.
Okay.
Once upon a time. And it was just the atmosphere, and I don't think I'm a people person on a scale where it's like lots of people in a room when I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. They're just in the way. They're just like, oh, you're waiting on something. Oh, fuck this. Whereas if I just have my body, I can do my stretches, I can do my jumping jacks, my push-ups, and I'm good.
That's good.
I'll go for a stroll.
And again, what's the only thing that matters? The results.
Yeah.
If you feel good doing that, carry on doing it. But we have to move. We have to move. And look at us now. Like, we're driving through McDonald's. We're driving to work. We're sitting at our offices. Like, and then we wonder why our health is sort of.
Yeah, I mean, we're mechanical. We're meant to be out and about. Exactly. We're meant to be moving.
Hunter-gatherers.
And stressing the body is a necessity.
Well, you can't avoid stress. You can't avoid it. Yeah.
Some people think, but it hurts the day after. I got a massage once, a proper massage on my back and shoulders. Dude, never again. I was crippled for like a week.
Well, pain is real.
Oh, this pain was real.
But we go back, like, what's pain doing? It's your body telling you something's wrong.
It was fine until I got the massage.
Absolutely. So was it good for you? Probably not. If your body reacts like that, but pain and soreness are different animals.
Oh, trust me, this is pain. It was like vibrating.
Okay.
The pain was like, it was just.
No, so that doesn't. Yeah,
I was like, I mean, the pain I have a relationship with is more of a. It's a flash that leaves an echo, if you will, of a physical sense, and it can make or break your day or your week.
Okay.
But it's come to the place now where in the course of a year, it'll happen less, but it's still more severe. It seems to get more severe as time goes on.
So what happened? Because you said you had an accident. What
a car, bang, spirit world, gone, and then a week later, I wake up. But it's the mother.
How long ago was that?
I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So that was a good 30 odd years ago.
Okay.
So the mother then would be kind of helping you walk again, kind of thing, properly.
Right,
but I didn't get a neck brace or anything. I mean, it was very much.
Well, quite frankly, the neck brace might have done you more good. Like in the old days, as soon as you had a car crash, they put the collars around.
That never happened to me.
Well,
I don't know.
If you had a fracture that was unstable, then the neck brace, of course.
That's the weird thing. I didn't break a bone.
Okay.
But there was all other kinds of that. You'd have been happier if you broke your back or your neck or something, or your legs.
Tangible. Yeah.
But there was just my teenage years were mainly being brought to specialists, and it's the most depressing experience you can engage in. And they're saying, well, you've a tilted spine now, you're fucked. You're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're in your mid-20s. You're probably going to lose all your hair by the time you're 19. You're fucked, basically. Travelling is out of the question. You're going to be on drugs from here on. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
But like, what a great image to give a kid, a teenager. What have you got to look forward to?
Nothing. You're fucked.
So at least give them something tangible. And the thing, this is where, like, again, it's a laugh. Like, sort of, people come in so often, like, with certain pains or whatever, and they say, well, what's causing it? And I said, well, depends on who you go to see.
Yeah.
Go to see the orthopedic guy, he's going to say it's your bones and joints, so you tilted this and tilted that. See the neurosurgeon, he's going to say it's bone and it's the nerves.
Yeah.
See the rheumatologist, oh no, it's the inflammation within the joint. See the physio, it's going to be the muscles. You could see every single different specialist, and you get so many different diagnoses.
You're fucked.
But the bottom line is the diagnosis means, well, what does diagnosis mean? Die to, and the agnosis, the not know. So it's just an opinion. It's just a guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
And most of the time, there is no scientific basis to what they're saying anyway. So it's just like, okay, if you accept that, so if you'd accepted, like, well, I'm going to be in a wheelchair, you would be in a wheelchair.
Oh no, I was accepting none of it. I was only like.
Then you were wise to it, because most of them don't.
I just looked at them and I thought, this physical specimen here is telling me this. I don't see it. I don't see how you can say you're an authority on anything. Look at the stadia.
But that's rare. That was
just
rare.
In my head, and I was actually raging in my head, looking at them, thinking, how can you sit there in this state and be, pontificating to me and taking my hope?
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
Absolutely.
And I just felt superior. I don't know what it is.
But I suppose that then, again, going back to our upbringings and stuff like that, obviously your upbringing raised you to question.
Oh yeah.
Authority. But that was the best thing you've gained out of it, because your path would have been very, very different if you'd accepted that.
Yeah.
Like, we're as society, like I said, we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and we're just getting more stupid because we're getting brainwashed with all these things. Like we said earlier on, like thinking it's natural to lose weight by injecting a foreign chemical. Like in 5 years, 10 years time, they're going to realize, God, we were duped.
Sure, my paranoia has gone to an all-time high now, especially with the kids with this school. Because my God Almighty, the nonsense. Now, I sometimes forget myself, and I do stonework that's the day job.
Okay.
I finished one actually this week. I was up looking at the new one yesterday, so I took the day off. Okay. I started in earnest on Monday, which is a great freedom that you can have when you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
So, but I come home from work this one evening, and I like to really, I'll grow into the day. So, but it starts today, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I got to do. You're moving a ton of stone up onto a scaffold, then you're climbing up there with a mix, and you're going at it. You get creative, have a ciggy break, go at it. But then as the day goes on, you're seeing where you want to be. My objective today is to get whatever. Yeah. So you're moving a lot of stuff, a lot of weight and a lot of movement, and it's all good. But by the time you drive home, then you're kind of warming down. then you're kind of tired. It all catches up with you. So you come in home, the kids are like, daddy, 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 daddy. And this one day, Sebastian is going on about, teacher said if someone hits me, I should turn and walk away. I'm like, did someone hit you? Now I'm taking my boots off at the door as he's having this conversation with me. And I said, did someone hit you? Because straight away you still have the energy from the day in you. Yeah. And you're kind of raging. The thought of someone touching your boy. And he's like, no. I goes, are you telling Daddy the truth? Why would she say that to you? She just said so. Because if someone hits you in the face, you break their fucking nose. End of. Or you kick them into the balls, you hurt them. Yeah. And if they beat you up, what about it? But you mark them some way, psychologically or physically. Lucy is losing her mind at the kitchen door like, what the fuck are you saying to the child? But the teacher said, tell your teacher to fuck off and I'll deal with your teacher. Now, I got into a conversation on one of the podcasts and I said it to somebody. Sorry, teachers in Kilroe, by the way, because I had to go pick him up a few weeks later, didn't I? Yeah. And I don't know, was it just me being paranoid? But one of the teachers, I don't know which one it is, just I got this impression she was looking at me like, you fucking, you know what I mean? She wasn't impressed. But I stand by what I said. That's when we were being brought up, there was like the wild, wild west. I mean, there was, it was a very young family town, and there was a lot of young, crazy energy there. And there was the military camp there. It was the age, we'll say the 80s. It was packed. And the estate we lived in was like the wild, wild west. Yeah. It really was. Yeah. And you got up to all kinds of crazy. So the father was always saying, like, if anyone touches you, you pick up the biggest fucking rock and you split their head wide open. And you're like, okay, got it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we took that with us. Yeah. Literally. So it's like, you know, there you go, it's back to the emotion. Yeah. When your precious child gives you this information and you're thinking, he's been threatened, he's been hurt, I don't want him feeling, you know, this way. And then he said, but it's okay because the teacher said it. I'm like, I have this explosion. A nuclear warhead has just left the building, you know, and they're all getting decimated. And I just try to, you know, pass that on to the two of them. But they kill each other, the two of them. And I roughhouse with them as much as I can. Like last night, he got an elbow into the mouth. But it was his own fault because he dived over my shoulder while I was fighting the other guy.
Well, you wait till they get a little bit older because it starts hurting more.
Dude, Junior's 10. He's like a gorilla. Well, I was trying to... I couldn't. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? I had to do some weight training. They're strong already. And they come at you full tilt.
Oh, they do, absolutely.
I'm like, this is one way I'm going to get injured. I could go up on a scaffold, which I'm afraid of, but I do it. Yeah. I'm juggling with all this weight and whatnot, and I'm fine. Not even scratches coming home. Yeah. These two little rugrats, and I could miss a few days' work over them, you know what I mean? So it's like...
one of my boys, he went through from 12, he's now 17, so from 11, 12 onwards, he just walk past me and give me a little tip on the shoulder. And at 11 or 12, it's fine, it doesn't hurt.
No, it's not.
But at 13, 14, 15, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like... Will you stop?
Isn't it amazing how quickly they grow?
They grow just like that. Yeah.
It's like...
But I remember a girl that used to work for me. Like she had 4 girls, and she said when they get to secondary school, then it's over in a flash. That secondary school does, and that is so true. So like all 4, like 2 go to university now, and then 2 are in secondary. But it's going so quickly, so quickly. Like it's just unbelievable, you know. But it's so funny, like just rearing kids, because like you can do your best. I tried. Like I'm sure when I was younger, it was almost like you'd overanalyze, have all the books on parenting and stuff, and you realise that what a load of bullshit. Yeah, it's just all you can do is do your best. If you give them, just do your best. That's it.
You have to just be in the moment. Yeah. Good or bad. I mean, Lucy, with the books, especially now with Junior being autistic and all that, did you read that book? And fuck that book. I'm not reading no book. Yeah. I listen to people who have who are in our situation, but maybe further along the line than we are. I listen to them talking about it and just see if there's anything that rings true. But then my sisters would be reading books. I remember when they were all starting to have their babies. As I have like 5 sisters, 5 brothers, and they're reading these books about having babies, and I'm like, you've instincts, you know, nurture that, listen to your body. And there's a relationship with your mind and your body. Why are you fucking reading this shit? What the fuck? Your mother has had 11 kids. Talk to her. What are you reading a fucking book for? It's amazing what they think, well, I'm doing it my way. No, you're not. This book, what? Bestseller. Right. You're doing it your way. Bestseller. Right. How many people are doing it their way and it just so happens to be your way? Right. Yeah. Cop on. Sniff. No, I think I had more of my father's way about things. Because he was like, we used to call him Gigawatt Jim. Because when he starts talking, it must be Japanese he's talking. Because he's got a vast array of interests.
Okay.
Topics, music, sport, technologies, history, movie, everything. And it's like a computer. And it's Gigawatt Jim because I don't know what he's saying to me. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You could ask him a question, but you're rolling the dice on whether you're going to understand the answer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he doesn't seem to think that you don't know what he's saying because God, you stop asking questions.
Well, I think these days what I realise is the best thing to do. The safest way to say is just I don't know.
I tried that
because
why? Why don't you know?
Well, but they know. If you say, well, I think it's this, they're going to criticize you anyway. So I'd say I don't know. I'll talk about things that I have an interest in that I believe in, but if I don't, I'm not going to bullshit and pretend.
Sabina he wants me to do like these little 10-minute videos of him playing with his Lego or playing with his he's mad into tractors, and he'd be educating me about his tractors. Okay. And then he wants to do a podcast. I'm like, no, this is my space. Leave me alone. Go get your shit. You're not allowed in here. But there I am 10 minutes later fucking recording him. Because he's going to have a channel and all of this jazz. And I'm like, you can't keep them from that. All you can hope for is that they have a sense of self that's strong enough.
Absolutely.
And, I think I've scared them enough and I think I've loved them enough equally, in equal measure, as the situation would deem necessary. Yeah. To have them do their little bit, because it's a 3-way thing. Like you give them those 2 aspects, and they have to plug into that and digest that, I suppose. Totally. And hey presto, you hope it works. Yeah, I don't know. Some work, some don't.
No, but that's all you can do. All you can do is just they have to walk the path.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, it's there's too many fucking soft-minded individuals getting you. You would be forgiven if you thought that the world was full of them, but that's not the case, I believe. What the case is, I believe, is that they've been financed to reach your eyes and ears more than those of us who just do what we do because we love what we do, and if it gets where it'll get, super. But I'm not going to finance it because I wouldn't do that to anybody. No. Find it in your own way. That's why I find the things I love. I just by accident or by chance or whatever. It's never someone advertised. If I see an advert, I'm gone because I know this is bullshit. Yeah. But that's kind of I don't know. It can be tricky. But no, it's gone now. I was going somewhere with that and it's fucking left me. Anyway, you were saying.
Well, we're covering everything here.
So how long have you been in Kilworth now?
When I came in 97. So what are we talking, 27, 28 years? Yeah.
And that building, that's...
The Market House. So that used to be the Arts Centre. So they had like a kiln. Yeah, they had a kiln at the back, and it was right. But originally, go back a long time ago, the upstairs there used to be a nightclub.
Really? In Kilworth?
In Kilworth, yeah. And then go back even further. Obviously, the Market House was like back in whatever the 1700s, whenever it was. That was, people going to market. They'd go there and they'd get their stuff weighed and off they'd go. So there's a huge history with it.
Sure, that building just, we'll say that's the square. There's your building, we'll say, and then you've a pub here, I think, and there's at the end there's a tall building with an arch.
There used to be a petrol station. Yeah,
it was hotel once upon a time.
And the hotel one. Yeah. Now, what was crazy because that building was that someone's doing it up now, which is great. But apparently it was a listed building, and like. You sort of look at it, think like, it lay dormant for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Because there were so many restrictions on it.
Yeah,
so like
Dion,
it's brilliant to see, but it's just nonsense. Like you think like this is just when it's just crazy. Like really, you'd rather see it derelict than someone actually doing it up in the way they saw fit. So I'm not sure how Dion's managing.
You're taking it on. You're pumping money and time and heartache into it.
Absolutely. And to improve things.
And if you improve that, it has an immediate positive knock-on effect to the whole immediate village.
Absolutely. But
so I don't know.
No, it's crazy.
There are some people who just, like I said, it's like blinkers.
Yeah.
And they're in a cartoon.
Yeah. No.
So it's
jobs for the boys.
And. Well, there's plenty of that going on, isn't there? I mean, I try to enforce my old rule, which I left go, and now I'm bringing it back, not to talk about religion and politics, because I get irate. I get very emotional about these things, because it's so many things.
But the trouble with but you could become totally paranoid.
Yeah.
So like, that's why I just, literally going back to our emotions, it's like, no, I'm not even going to entertain it. Like I don't give a shit about what's happening in America because it doesn't affect me.
I think if
I think it's a laugh.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's like Christ, how the mighty have fallen. That's how I think of it. Yeah. But then where I get my kicks is, like I said, documentaries. And I mean, I've watched documentaries about nearly anything. The one that was holding my attention for the longest time was the UFO thing, because I have a lot of. I think people should have a lot of questions about this because. There's two simple things that I put the foundation on. If it's true, we have a problem. If it's not true, we have a problem. And it's a psychological one. You see the numbers involved in this? It's crazy. And it's not only America, it's global. It's like, But then again, you look at what the people who are doing the right thing for the right reasons call right. And they're blowing up cities full of children and women and civilians. And no one's doing nothing about it. Gangsters run the show, unfortunately. We let them, and no one's willing to take the hit.
But even going like on that, just even though I was talking about America, dismissing it, but who was it? He pulled out, one of the Kennedys who pulled out of the race. But he had a very interesting article on his approach to healthcare, because he was said because everything, like big pharma is all corrupt and all this. So the politicians, they make the laws. They retire from office and then they're immediately
hired.
Yeah. And you sort of think, until you break that monopoly, we're never going to see truthful things.
Look at the money that the likes of Google, Facebook, Amazon, they're richer than most countries. Like.
Oh, totally.
You're telling me that they don't... Look, the corporate world is it's basically ignorant on a lot of human things. And if you look at all the policies now that they want to implement thanks to the World Economic Forum, they seem to be very anti-human. If you look at them, you're not choosing anything, you're just looking at the suggestions and you're thinking, well, Jesus, who's writing this? Some alien? Because this is very anti-human. It is. And all this global warming bullshit that they're banging on about, it's fucking... I was out at a shoot once, archery shoot competition, and this fucking lady starts going on about the Green Party and it's great, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And I held it for maybe half the shoot, and she's still banging on about this Green Party thing, and I had to just say, well, in my humble opinion. And then I just fucking toasted her. Jesus Christ! Said, if you choose to be stupid, you can't complain about the results of your stupidity in about 4 years' time when they implement all these retarded fucking things. He said it's nothing to do with nothing. It's coming out of a place of ignorance and manipulation. He said if you actually do your fucking homework, when I say do your homework, you go back 100 years. That's where you start, and you look at the landscape. Then we'll say, as in the information landscape, and just progress. Fast forward up to where you are, and if you don't see it, you're just fucking, you don't want to see it because it's very clear and obvious. And fuck them and their global warming bullshit. and they're fucking electric vehicles. I mean, Christ. Electric vehicles. You're not driving an electric vehicle.
No, not at all. But it's just, again, it's the hypocrisy. Like I read something about the lithium batteries or something, and the amount of energy that it uses to produce that, the cost of it, and it's way worse than any diesel car ever.
And toxic to the soil and all.
Exactly. Like you just think like, geez, we're just muppets because they're just playing this all.
That's all. But it's again, it comes back to you. See, people, again, you gotta get your emotions in check, first and foremost. And then you just gotta nurture the habit of, like, if I hear good news, I question it. If I hear bad news, I question it. If someone tells me I'm great, I question them. If they tell me I'm bad, I question them.
Yeah.
I'm not satisfied.
Yeah.
I'm not really needing their approval or their disapproval. It's irrelevant, really.
But then that's very rare, because as I said, most people are just accepting what they're told, and that's going straight in. So it's very interesting to see. Like, I would never listen to the news ever.
Oh, you're better off.
I wouldn't buy it. Like after I suppose the last 5 years, I would never ever buy a newspaper. Apart from I'll look at the sport. That's the only thing I'm interested in.
And that's once you accept that it's entertainment, you're good to go.
You're good to go.
You can't be thinking, did you hear? And then they'll fight and die on this fucking thing they read in this rag. And
absolutely. I'm like, because they're accepting it as fact. What the fuck? And it's not.
But it brings that whole analogy of the movie The Matrix.
Yeah.
Fittingly. It's just how it's the light in which you look at the situation will make you say, I get it. It's nothing to do with but the principle of it, the fundamental, the root of it all is, of course, this is, I get, because it is all up here.
Yeah.
And it's where you're enslaved or freed.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can behave in a manner out of, I don't know, is it empathy, but you just know that. You can meet someone in 5 minutes. You just kind of have a vibe.
Well, that's the vibrational thing.
I'm not gonna go into these waters with this person or these because I don't think I have a fair idea how it's going to be received, and then so you don't want to scare them.
No.
So you just you're placid enough with them, and you just let's have a pleasant moment and move on, unless they annoy you with their whatever, and then it's fucking who knows what'll happen then. But it is matrixy. It is, but there's a lot going on now with all these. Again, it's all the shit we're being led to believe is our reality. When I think the best thing you can do as an individual is just say no and go out into your garden or your balcony or wherever, or get to your local park or woods and just be with yourself. For fuck's sake, a few minutes. That's all you need, because you can bring that information, that experience home. The temperature, the touch, the atmosphere. Bring it all home, all that information, and replay it in your brain when you go to sleep, and then expand on it. Because I heard a very interesting thing, which brings it back again to the brain. There's this psychologists were doing all these tests, and they believe that the method actor, or any actor, but more so the method actor, because of the intensity in which they engage in being whatever, the actors experience all these things that their character does, but their body, the actor's body, is stained by the experience, because the brain doesn't know he's acting.
No,
it's like he's tricked himself, and the body and the brain and all of you is basically, you've experienced everything that they're experiencing. I mean, there was a fucking terrible stat I saw recently. Well, there was two stats that were kind of freaky. There was about the porn industry. The porn industry is actually the biggest financier of technology being advanced. Now, you'd be like, that's a why? But then when you go into it, it's like, it's very scary. And then the second one is like 80% of the women that engage in that career path, we'll say, commit suicide at a very young age. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no. But go back to what you said there about the method acting. Well, I saw a study, I don't know what the percentage is, but all the consultants, the amount of consultants who die of their own speciality, because that's where they're focused. Like, when you're teaching in a few years, when you're teaching your kids to drive, I always say this to my patients, it's sort of like, if you're telling them, watch the ditch, they hit the ditch, they're fucking in the ditch.
Whereas, don't kick the cat.
Don't tell them where they don't want to go, tell them where they should go. And that's why I just bring it back to health again. We have it's not a healthcare system, it's a disease care system, because you've got to be sick to use it. But medicine is brilliant in emergency healthcare. We've got the best of everything there. But when the focus is on disease, that's what you're attracting. Because everything's vibrational.
Yeah.
Your brain is basically, your subconscious is just doing what it's bidden.
You don't understand the power of your mind, I think, is what we're dealing with, isn't it?
Exactly. And even like, say, my father-in-law, who was diagnosed with a pretty terrible disease, and he made the mistake of asking the consultant how long he had. They said 12 months.
Oy.
Tony died within 12 months. Pretty much to the day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't going to pass anyway. It was a pretty horrible time for them. But, like, still, he lost, when you said hope, hope was just taken out of the equation. And that was it. And, like, you think, like, who gives them the fucking right to play God?
Yeah.
They don't know. They give their opinion. That's fair enough. But it's not fact.
They shouldn't be saying shit.
No. Well, they certainly should be given negative concepts. Because those negative concepts, if they are accepted, is going to give the negative result, and we're not going to anything going to
amplified then by the person.
Absolutely.
Results. Premonition.
Totally.
Dumb. Because there's another documentary I'm in the middle of at the moment about this doctor. I think he's from. I might be wrong about this. Is he either from Ukraine or Belgium? And in the 70s or 80s, he moved to America. I think maybe Washington or Chicago. It's just it bounces around because there's court cases involved. And now the guy is a genius. He's a bona fide genius. He's a research doctor.
Okay.
And he came up with this treatment cure for all cancers. And there was this one part of it so far, man, and it was fucking harrowing. There's this father in a hearing, because these drug companies and the government are trying to put him out of business. And this father is at the hearing giving testimony about his daughter, who was, I think she was like 8 or something, and she was diagnosed with this terminally ill cancer, and they bombarded her with all of this fucking the radiation therapy, which fucking burnt her skull. Now, when he saw that, the father, he just took her home. He said, that's enough is enough. They're doing more damage than this alleged disease. Heard by chance about this doctor. The doctor didn't want nothing to do with it because he was already under fire. And then he saw the daughter. She's a lovely looking girl. I mean, not that, all kids are lovely. But the moment, he brought her in, examined her, said, I don't want her medical files. I just want to do my own examination. Yeah. I'll interpret her as she's before me. Yeah. And it went on for a few weeks. And he said, what's her diet? So what did he introduce? Is some alkaline or something into her diet? Basically removing all the acids.
Yeah.
Getting rid of
all sugar out of it as well.
Yes. I'm struggling with that. I'll do great for a year. Yeah. And then 6 months I'm putting sugar in my coffee. You fucking loser. And it's like, right, from tomorrow. Not from tomorrow. That's the middle of the week. Let's go Sunday. From Sunday onwards, we'll go another 12 months. Yeah. And okay. And I manage it somehow. Yeah.
But then you're back, But again, I suppose the only way, the reason why your body's yearning that is because there's an imbalance there.
Well, because if you think, hardly eat in the daytime now when I'm at work.
But when your body's stressed, what does it need? It needs energy.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're going to yearn. So you can tell that if someone's craving chocolate and stuff, their body's in a stress state. They're in that fight-flight state. Yeah. So that's naturally thing. So, you can rely on willpower, which will get you so far.
Yeah.
But if you don't change the cause...
Yeah, well, that's true, but it could be simply just weakness. Weakness for an addiction.
But, it could. But then the only reason why we're addicted to something is because your body's got a craving for it. But why has the body got a craving? Because it's not natural.
It's not a normal thing. But it's been in our environment.
It's a new evolutionary thing, absolutely. Yeah. So, but if you start looking at, giving the body more of things that it needs, then you'll find that suddenly the cravings aren't there.
Oh, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
That's that. When I use oil paint for some weird reason, even modern day oil paint, I need to drink milk. When I come out of the studio, no, I have the doors open, even if it's raining because it's stepped in.
Okay.
So it's fine, but I have to drink loads of milk. So I'm just a bowl of cereal. I have another bowl of cereal after a day of painting with oil paints.
Okay.
And I think, well, if I need milk, maybe I should have eggs. So I'll have some eggs. Yeah. And then, in my head, I was satisfied, whatever it was. But I'm like, okay, so whatever I'm breathing in, it's on my lips, it's everywhere in my nostrils. So it's probably taking some nutrients or something. That maybe these, if I have the craving for it. Yeah. So what's in milk? Okay, I get a lot of that in eggs too. So I go, because the thing about milk apparently is, you drink the milk, 50% of what you're getting from the milk is cancelled out by to allow your body to get what it needs for the other 50%. So it's going to be like a safe transaction.
But also just when they talk about the pasteurization of it all, like that's a whole different theory as well.
Yeah.
But you can be so. That's the thing. You can be so paranoid about all these things.
100%. If you want the chocolate, eat the fucking chocolate, and do some push-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And actually appreciate the chocolate.
Yes, love it.
Yeah, totally. And just sort of say, okay, I know that's probably the wrong thing, but it's fine. I enjoyed it, and I'll take it for what it is. I'm not eating it all the time. Yeah, it's only energy. Anyway. They're only electrons.
That's all. But it's again, it's your
mindset to it. If you think, oh shit, I've eaten that chocolate, I'm going to become obese, I'm going to become diabetic. Well, you will.
Yeah.
And I say it's same with smoking. Like a great aunt of mine, I always bring her up because she lived on her own from 94. She chain smoked about 150 cigarettes a day type of thing. And you knew when she was sick, because Aunt Phyllis would only have maybe 40 cigarettes in a day. But she lived to 94.
I knew people like this.
And it's like...
And they were smoking those strong things.
Absolutely, but smoking kills you. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does if you think, okay, smoking does cause cancer and it's going to kill you, but it is only electrons. But again, that's it. Even her attitude totally changed.
I would debate with them even on that. I don't even come here. If I'm in here with someone like you today, I'm not going to do a deep dive of anything. I'll say, chiropractor, bone cracker, okay. That's all I got. And then I'll sit before you and I'll listen to you and I'll learn from you about you. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So even when I'm coming in by myself to talk about archery or art, whatever I can rattle up on the spur of the moment is all I've got. Mm. And if I'm not happy with that, I better learn how to be better at it. Yeah. Because I'm not going to have a script.
No.
Or I try sometimes if I'm doing something for a buddy, like his magazine needs a shout out or whatever, and the people they tend to tune into what I do. Okay, I'll have bullet points, but that's it. That's all. Yeah. But back to the girl with the Belgian doctor. Mm. He cured her completely of cancer within 12 months. He wasn't being all lovey-dovey with her. He wasn't being affectionate in any way with her. He was just facts. And he probably the same with the parents. Like, look, she's severely... she died of the damage to her skull that was caused by the fucking radiation.
I can't believe that.
And father, how he didn't take a gun to those who... Because that's where I have, I suppose, a fear that if something like that were... If I was to find myself in such a situation... my biggest fear would be this destruction that I would wantonly bring on those I would deem to be
responsible.
And I think I'd be like, I'd say to herself, you may now go back to church.
But I think the problem with that, like a lot of the people, not everyone's doing it for the wrong reasons. It's because they believe that. But it's just, to me, that paradigm's completely messed up. It's
every paradigm in the modern society is fucked. It was never designed for the fruition of mankind.
Yeah.
It was all about control. It's always been about control.
Yeah.
A minority group over a fucking species. What the fuck, people? Wake the fuck up. You know, I have a big issue with that. It irks me no end. And then when I watch movies like, what's that fucking movie with the blue people?
Oh, the Avatar thing.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah.
The whole story. I mean, he's pretty much robbed. What was it with Kevin Costner and Dances with Wolves? Another, you've the representation of one, the minority, and then the majority, and then it's like how the dynamic changes when the veil is removed and you're shown a truth that you can get behind and die. Well, I said don't die for nothing, but kill for something.
But you got to believe. You got to believe in something.
You have to have belief in something, and I have absolutely no problems with people and their beliefs.
Yeah.
If it's like, you know, it's improving them, if it's making them, if it's keeping them afloat long enough for them to kind of get stronger and to grow, and then maybe shed it like skin at some stage, because they've educated themselves to a higher whatever reasoning.
As in, their theories change, but it's not fact.
But it's like you know, like the media is a perfect example of the propaganda machine is constant, and all the TV shows that you used to love, and then you realise were just instruments of propaganda, and you're like, oh, for fuck's. And then there's like, it seems there's no escape.
Yeah.
And then I was watching this interesting fucking documentary about these enclosed animals. So they get 2 mice and they put them in a box, and straight away the mice are going like, how do we get out of here? And they say, okay, we can't get out of here. And they get on with it. Then they get them a bigger box, like a big room, and it goes on and on and on. And then they always try to find, but at some stage when it got so big, we'll say like a wildlife park, they say, well, I can do this much in a day, I'm fine. But humans are the only ones that will go and look for the edge, and then it'll be like, fuck.
Yeah, no.
Who built this? What's on the other side of this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
And then discontent.
Yeah. But it's like mice. When you watch a mouse being chased by a cat.
Yeah.
Panic. But the second the mouse goes into the mouse hole, they don't even care about the mouse. Like,
no,
the cat.
But cats are
they
psycho,
totally switch off. Well, cats are psycho, but the mouse doesn't then sit at home worrying about the psycho cat. He just gets on with his life.
That's close. Move on.
But that's it. So like, whereas we replay all the shit that goes on.
And why do you think that is?
Well, whatever concepts and ideas and beliefs we have.
Look at the structure of your favourite TV show, of your news. On the hour, every hour,
repetition, absolutely.
And the music on the radio that you hate the minute you hear it, but 2 weeks later you love that song. You don't know why. Repetition.
Oh, totally. But it's actually interesting. I heard something about soap operas. Do you know why soap operas are called soap operas? Because they were sponsored by Procter & Gamble at the beginning. And so Procter & Gamble realised that society loved stories. So they loved, you know, like typical soap opera things because they could relate to it.
Yes.
And so they very quickly realised, okay, if we start advertising our soaps and all this lot, we're going to make a shitload of money. So they sponsored all the original soap operas. Were all from Procter & Gamble.
And now they're all from Pfizer.
Same thing. But that's why they're called soap operas. That's where it came from originally.
But that's all the news is a fucking soap opera.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Like, you can't. And it's just, it does wind me up when sort of people say, but I heard it on the news. Do you really know what's happening in whatever country? Yeah.
The way I look at it is like, I bought a new phone there now because the thing I have is like, it's starting to freeze on me and whatnot, and I kind of needed to not do that. Okay, so I just got the next version of this phone, but I'm waiting for I have to get a case because I'm very rough with these things. So as soon as that comes together, herself will just put everything because she's the wizard and I'm just the dope.
There's the green. Press that button and you can phone It's fine. Because press memory 1.
I got a cool Canon digital camera, and it would be ideal for doing the podcast because the video is excellent on it. And if I'm getting the sound from a separate thing and I'm doing the same thing, lining them up later on editing wise, it's awesome. But the reason I can't use it is its fucking file is huge. Whereas if you get the phone and you get the same quality nearly, and I'd argue probably better at times. It's the information is like half, if less again even. So I have a perfectly beautiful camera now that I keep saying I'm going to take some photos someday. It's crazy how quickly the technology. So when it comes to like, I was going somewhere with this. So I think this next phone is the best available phone today. But someone might just say, well, that's what they're telling you. If you're using if that's what they're giving you, what the fuck do they have themselves? You know, if it's going so quickly annually, they're not telling you everything.
No.
Because there was one thing I was trying to find out. I think it might have been called the technology zoo theory. And it was meant to be a very comprehensive expression, if you will, of one's perspective on our relationship with technology.
Yeah.
And I got, like, maybe someone was talking about it for 10 minutes and I go, oh, I gotta find that. That sounds awesome. I'd love to get into the weeds of that. I can't find it anywhere on the internet.
Wow.
Sucks.
Yeah.
But it's basically what they were saying. Yeah, they'll it's like you're going to the zoo to see the technology, but you're the zoo animal. You just don't know it. And the technology people are saying, we'll give them this and we'll give them that. But they don't know you go outside the zoo, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, people are back to the UFOs.
Yeah.
You honestly think you saw something with aliens from another planet in a thing with lights on it? I think it's the military fucking around with your new state of the art fucking whatever the fuck it is, remote control thing. Because think about it. If you have the briefest dive into information that they have acquired about UFOs and all that, they're thousands of years ahead of man and blah blah blah. Well, why are they flying around at night time with lights on? If they're trying to be, discreet, they're going around like Christmas trees. Anyone who has a thing going around with so many seemingly unnecessary lights, they're like, look at me, and that then begins a narrative for somebody to benefit from, a distraction. So a lot of people don't even. They're like, oh, it's a fucking alien, man! I'm telling you. Why? You saw it in a movie? I said, it's middle of the night, flashing lights. You're being distracted from something or something somewhere. Or else you have some neurological issue. Because I saw a thing one time and I was full sure that it was like a meteor just going to fucking come right down on me in Diego, middle of the night. And that gave me an idea to the scale of the object.
Okay.
It was just... whatever way it was, it went from over that way, but it was so big you thought it was coming down on you, and then it was so close you thought to the ground because of the size of it that there's going to be an explosion any minute. They're over the horizon. I can run up the hill just a little bit and I'll probably see what happens, but you couldn't move. Your legs were frozen.
What was the dog doing?
Same, frozen.
Okay. Right.
And I'm like, are we brain dead? Is there something going on here? I'm sober. I'm not tired because I'm more of a night owl anyway. Okay. Because back in the day, I was always up doing drawings and paintings till the wee hours, or trying to mess with the guitar. And it's quieter. You're more. It's nothing to do with magical bullshit. It's like, look, less annoying people, less interruptions, so you can get busy. So. So, but then you have to bring him out at like fucking, it was 12:30, I suppose, at night. And it was a lovely evening. But this thing was like an electric jellyfish for all the world. But the size of God only knows what. Yeah. And you're like, run up in your voice. It's like, run up and see what the fuck where it's gonna land or whatever, or crash, whatever the fuck it is. And I couldn't move. My legs were my body was non-responsive. And I was like, oh, what is this? Is this fair? I don't know.
Could be. Yeah.
But again, it's like the command was ignored by the body. And I don't know why that was.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, maybe I had some kind of brain fart. Maybe there's some fucking, I should get a scan. Maybe this is just all in my head. Because you can't assume anything. You can just say, this brings up questions. That's all you can say. You can't say, guess what I saw. All you say is something really weird. That's all I know for a fact. That's unusual.
Something. Yeah.
But I don't know what. Is it a true experience or is it a malfunction in the brain?
Who knows? Yeah.
So I said, let's go, Diego. Back in home.
Back.
Get a glass of whiskey and go to bed and sleep it off.
Yeah. But there's so much. There's so much that we don't.
Dude, I keep telling you, the more you know. Especially about your own self. Yeah. The less you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
Well, who was it? Gurdjieff or one of these ones who said the only thing you can be absolutely certain of is that you're here. As in, I'm here. Yeah. Everything else could be...
Debt and taxes.
Well, yeah.
Two certainties in life.
Two certainties. Yeah.
But See, I don't know. I'm always looking for the magic. I'm always looking for the beautiful colour. I'm always looking for that, that ripple in your heart, that flutter of excitement about anything. I mean, I was having a cigarette outside the back door of a cottage just outside from my years ago, and it was kind of, it's a misty morning, but it's going to be a scorcher kind of a day, and it was early enough, and the field kind of falls down in a way, so you had a great scope of the landscape, and there was all these trees and stuff, and next thing it's like that, shadows just popped on the landscape, and it was magical the way it just came to life, and it's just like, fuck, instead of like rushing to capture it, just to be in it and to be witness to it is all you need. And if people would just fucking
wake up and appreciate things.
It is
be in the moment.
When I speak of magic, that's what I mean. People are magic. You know what I mean? And the environment you're in is magic. Don't let these fucking suits with their bullshit and their brainwashing nonsense, this cult of ignorance, stay in your brain. Don't let it happen. No. Fucking fight for your right to be crazy. You know? But I would actually, like at one stage or another, I did think I should try this, I should try that in regards to the whole pain management thing. But somewhere in there, someone said, just go into the fucking fog there now and just sit with this and feel it. And just fucking stop being a pussy and deal with it. Absorb it, move on. And that's what's worked. Okay. So I did.
But again, results are results.
I don't know. You have the reality of it catches you every morning, like before you slip into the act, if you will. You have that.
Well, then I suppose then another question you could ask then is sort of, the approach is obviously working now, but if you do nothing, what happens? And that's the same.
If I do nothing, what happens? Well, it's not. I'm not happy.
Well, then I suppose that's what a lot of us would do is we just accept things the way they are, but everything can change.
Oh, everything.
Yeah. So even though you may be in you're dealing with that now, but there's still a reason why your body hasn't healed. So yes, you had a serious car crash, everything happened, but again, remember your body's self-healing. So for you to still have chronic pain and symptoms, well, we know there's something still wrong there, whether with the structure, with the brain.
Nuts missing or loose,
but they could still change. They could easily change.
I mean, taking up the artery, for example. Now you think it's simple. You think it's not fucking simple. I can assure you. But when you get the right shot, you get all these muscle feelings in your body, like a chain reaction of a sort. And it freaked me out the first time it happened. I was like, fuck, I think I pulled something. There was no pain. It was just the movement. The chain reaction of movement. And then I was like intrigued. I was like, what the fuck?
What's this?
And then of course you go onto the fucking internet and YouTube and you see all these crackers who go to an extreme. Like, I don't know. Because now I know, like, straight away, most of it, if I see something that's just pretty or beautiful or funny, that's my trinity. Anything outside that, I'm not looking to change my life on someone's fucking bullshit video. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Stroke the moment, tickle the moment, but don't be thinking like you're going to find answers there, because it's like there was when the radio was invented and it was like put on we'll say a commercial scale globally, wars between people went through the roof. And when the television was invented, the same thing happened. But everything came back down to once people climatized to the new technology. So now we're in that transition with the internet and our access to it. Maybe our kids would be better off, but I can't see how, because our reactions are going to be strongly, they're very aware of our reactions to any questions and our fears perhaps.
But what is interesting is they're much like like you say that, like, you know, we're our generation. Well, I'm older than you, but our generation is we're not very trusting. No. I think the younger generation are more accepting because they've been exposed to more things. You know, so I think in that way there's some goodness, some good things. I wouldn't
say that's a bad thing. Makes them more susceptible to marketing. Because I've heard some people talk, and I'm like, we were out for the once in the blue moon that we might get out to have a drink in a bar with people, and we went out to this smoking area, and there was this young fella there, and he was in some bit of condition, and he kept banging on about X Factor, because he thought we were in a band or something. That's how it started, and you should go on X Factor. And I goes, why would you go on X Factor? And man, he ran with that ball. He just got the ball, and he was going for a solid 20 minutes about X Factor. And I just felt sorry for him.
Well, but again, I suppose a lot of people who go on X Factor, they have never been told the truth. That they shouldn't be on X Factor anyway.
That's the favourite part of the show for me, when I used to fucking see it. I'd be look at this one.
But then you
you gotta call it for what it is. You're fucking tone deaf. You can't.
But how much? Then go back. How much of that is real? How much is staged? Like there's no way some of them could go on that show and think they were good.
The ones who end up where, you know, in the course of the show,
yeah.
They've history. They've been, they've been tapped up, if you will. Say, will you come in and but all the,
but
the misfortunates.
But there's no way some of them. You should look and think, how could you have gone through your life thinking that's good?
Well, look, everyone gets a medal.
That is true.
I have a very big problem with that approach, because I was bullied. My brothers were bullied. Yeah. We were all bullied, and we all ended up fighting and beating the bully. Yeah. And then the only reason we did it because the mother would actually come in and try to beat up the bully for you, and that was, you couldn't live that shit down.
No.
So you had to get smart fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So you get a Granny Smith apple, okay? Take a bite out of it, and you work on your aim, and you explode that apple off the head of the aggressor, and then you might get a hiding after that, but you'll be smiling all the way through, because there's a victory about you, you know, for just going up against the tide, the monster, and when you see that apple explode off the skull, beautiful moment.
I was never brave enough for that.
I know.
I always checked that. I always stepped away.
No, we got fairly battered, but it was like the Wild Wild West, man. It was crazy.
But you respond to the environment you're brought up in.
100%, because you don't know. This is normal.
This is normal.
Because we had actually a neighbor. Someone who bought a house 2 doors down from where our family place is in Beachville, and from my. Yeah. These people were like, everyone gets the fucking medal for real. These people were like, the world is perfect, everything is fine, kind of people, lovely people, but deluded. And myself, my brother David, now we were into the boxing, the karate, all these things, and Huckleberry Finn on acid, but a bit of speed for good measure. And our cousin, I think it was Jimmy was there. So there was Jimmy, me and Dave, and for whatever reason it kicked off between the three of us. And we start having these, like, the dead arm punches kind of get out of hand, and it went feral. It was violent, apparently. But your man jumped 2 walls to get into us, to tear us apart. And we're looking like, will we take this guy? We're thinking to attack, because we're just like, we're dealing with a thing between us. Yeah. That's the way we do it. Yeah. But this guy was like, my God, what are you doing? You crazy? He lost his fucking mind. And I thought, like, things like that always stay with me. Yeah. I'm like, that's interesting.
It's so true. Girls wreck your head and boys wreck your house.
He's like a grown man, and this is his reaction to our everyday, our normal,
our normal getting over.
Imagine him going to a fucking Christmas party at the house, like.
Jesus,
So it is awareness, self-awareness is key. I think.
Awareness, willingness, and ability. That's how.
Willingness to say fuck off. To
you've got to be willing to change whatever you want to do, and then having the ability to do it. That's
ability is a good thing, because I've thrown myself at things I had no business. Because I couldn't wait for the person who's supposed to show me. They just never show up, or they're they're not consistent, and then I say, fuck it, I'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think it's you have great fun doing this. As long as you don't take yourself seriously.
I don't, yeah. But then that's the thing, you need to have a laugh. You need to have a laugh.
Yeah,
you need to have a laugh. That's for sure.
It's the best infection to have is the laugh.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes everyone where they should be.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
And
like we said earlier on with babies, like just watch a baby laugh. No matter even the most miserable git in the world, you're gonna smile at that little baby because the innocence and the
those laugh out loud baby clips that you see sometimes.
Brilliant, yeah.
Watch again, watch again, and you're laughing at it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to have a cigarette. I'm gonna have it out there.
I need to go.
All of a sudden, we've been doing that since the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, we've been up until that moment. You're a crackhead if you start talking about it.
Totally. Yeah.
So, question everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And I mean, to sit in the garden on a day like today is not a day wasted.
No.
It's an investment.
Absolutely.
And not only into your well-being, but into your wonderment. You know, to feel wonder in something so readily available. It has to be done. It should be number one in your school day, every day. Instead of the crap, oh yeah, a man can be pregnant, sure. Fucking hell, what? Do you know what I mean? What the fuck is going on? Who okays all this shit? And then you have that lad up in the country there, Enoch Burke. What that man has been persecuted for standing up for what is right. What is fucking right for like a zillion years. But because some fucking crackpot notion that to destabilize the relationship in the house between parent and child, which is clearly what it's all geared towards, and being backed up by government and manipulation of law, is a disgrace. It's disgusting. And you know, these are the things that I say, not today. Just be aware of it. You don't have to get involved. You know, but be aware.
But as you said, just question everything. Don't accept it. Question it.
I wouldn't accept shit.
No, would I?
I mean, even when I come up with a good idea, I'm like, wait a minute, is it a good idea? Because I used to, my buddy Jim will tell you, like, I attack a canvas vigorously with absolute certainty. This is the best painting ever. Yeah. And by the time I'm finished, I'm like, yeah, it's the best painting ever. The next day I look at it and goes, what the fuck was I thinking? It's shit. It's pure shit. And it's like, you know, but why did you think it was so great? That's where the questions lie. That's where you gotta go. So even your own perception of a thing has to be ridiculed. He's always planning things out to the last detail. I'm not. I'm trying to implement it with a balance of a sort that would fit into my nature, if you will. Not having much success at that, but
again, I suppose accepting that everything's moving.
Constantly,
you know, you can decide which direction it goes in, no matter what you're talking about.
I'm a big believer that the overall, let's say, experience is a good one. It's a positive, and it's you know, once you accept the pains, all of them, none of them are pleasant. They're not meant to be. You go to the gym, like you're saying, and you start from scratch. You're gonna suffer. You gotta suffer to evolve.
Well, I would say pain is obligatory, suffering's not.
Yes.
Suffering's a choice.
Yes.
So it's your attitude
choose your
towards
suffering. That's what I've heard recently, and I thought that's a good one. Choose your suffering, you know. Have those pains from your muscles being broken down and rebuilt stronger. Have those momentary pains to be stronger again. And if you're stronger, then you've got longevity and many things. You're more awake in your day. You know, there's nothing wrong.
There's polarity in everything.
Yeah, but, you got to balance.
Being aware of that, it's just so whatever, as much pain there is, there's as much joy there is.
Well, you can't. They're exactly the same.
Camp. They're exactly the same thing, though.
Yeah, you got to be
a different thing.
Somewhere in the middle is where you want to be hanging out. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Ed, it's been great talking to you. I'm delighted you came.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
I would hope maybe in the future I can wreck your head on something.
Absolutely.
We can have a good laugh about it.
Good.
But thanks for being on the Blackbird.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I hope I won't do much editing. I record everything, of course, because I don't have the intelligence to fucking do it any other way.
Well, you're better than me. I can't edit. So
you know what my editing is? I took a photo of this, and I tried to get the sound.
But you had a soundtrack as well, yeah.
You see how many birds? You just saw the birds out there. I throw a loaf of bread out the window. It's gorillas Crows are everywhere. Okay, that's enough. And then you put it together. Because I got it online, but they wanted me to pay for it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I said, fuck you.
I'll do them, yeah.
So I did that, and I just married the two, we'll say, and then I just split it. Like copy and then stick them together, so you get maybe, I don't know, a 6-second intro.
Okay.
And I thought it was fun.
Impressive.
I thought it was fun, right?
I couldn't manage
it. It took me a while to get there.
Okay, yeah.
Because usually I go to her, she's the techno one.
Okay.
And I'm like, how do I do this? She goes, figure it out.
Okay.
I'm sick of you.
Well, the kids will do it soon.
They'll
sort it out well for you.
But then they're like, you should have music. I'm like, why? Well, everyone has music. Well, that's why I shouldn't have music then. And I just thought it was more, well, she's in the kitchen now because we've so many birds. When the crows start, she's like, I could be at work. She's like, is he doing something? I didn't know he was back. Yeah. But every time she hears crows now, she's thinking of the podcast, which is kind of funny, I think. But that's all I did. And we said, I'll cut you and I coming in to sit down, and once I find in where the sentence might start, and go to the end, and then there you go.
There you go.
Cut. Okay. Put on the clip. That's it. That's all I do.
Okay.
Because I'm not. I have a big philosophy on how a conversation goes. Okay. It's like it's a painting in my head. It's like if you have an ashtray there. Or not even an ashtray, because I know you're into the health stuff, but say you have a can, or a stick, a smelly stick burning, and you have the smoke coming up on each side of the table, and if you can visualize it, they're close enough where the smoke will rise and it'll dance, and then if you put a bolt of electricity through that vision, those little synapses going off, and then it's a painting I'm waiting to do. I just gotta
figure it out.
Make it look good as well. So it's like if you edit any part of that picture, it doesn't make sense, or something seems off, because on the depths of your mind, your perception, you're getting something more than what's on the face of it, if you know what I mean. So it's deeper than your initial visual interpretation. So that's why I'm not really pushed about editing. Just get a start and a finish, leave the rest alone. If you upset YouTube, and they'll tell you where you fucked up.
Oh, they will.
So you can edit that out and re-upload it.
Okay.
And hope it stays. Right.
Brilliant.
We'll call it a day.
Thank you.